Everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and we're joined once again by the man, the legend himself, Max Keiser of the Keiser Report. First of all, how are you doing?
Awesome, great event, San Francisco. A lot of people are talking about the fact that Bitcoin, as well known as it is, hasn't really reached critical mass in terms of media attention. The Libra announcement from Facebook is driving a lot of interest into crypto, and then in turn people are looking at it and saying, that's interesting. Now I know why Bitcoin is better. So we see a big price move in Bitcoin, and we're seeing now the beginning of another huge rally in Bitcoin. And this event has pulled together some great folks. Bitcoin Magazine was there at the beginning, and it's been a lot of fun so far. The weather's great, food's great, grilled cheese sandwiches are great, popsicles are great. Josh, you're here. So what more do you want?
And you got the nice white suit, as per usual.
Yeah.
I see every conference, I see this beautiful white suit. You always got great shoes. You can't see them. But I wanted to ask you, because we are seeing... You're going to take them off? All right.
See? There.
Pretty nice, pretty nice. The Max Keiser collection. I don't know where you get them, but anyway. I wanted to ask you about something that it seems like it's good timing for the crypto space, because the Federal Reserve is looking at potentially lowering interest rates, and there's a lot of talk about that, and it seems like it's been followed by a massive gold rally for the biggest in about 6 years, and then at the exact same time we're seeing cryptocurrency rise. What do you think that signifies when you're seeing something like the dollar kind of look like it's going into a bear market and cryptocurrency looking like it's going into a bull market?
The Federal Reserve Bank in the United States and other central banks around the world have been playing a game for the last 10, 15 years where they talk about they might raise interest rates someday. They never do. Or if one does in one country, another bank lowers it in their country. And they all collude. There's an excellent book by Nomi Prince called Collusion. Talks about central banks around the world colluding. The policy for the past 20 years, 30 years has been always to lower rates, always flood the system with cash. Alan Greenspan had what was known as the Greenspan put. We know when the market crashed in '87, the Fed came in and they flooded the system with cash to boost stock prices. Then we had the Bernanke put, the Janet Yellen put, now we have the Jerome Powell put. So markets look at this and they'll give them the benefit of the doubt for so many years. And then eventually the Ponzi scheme is revealed. The market says, we don't believe you anymore. And it starts to tick higher. Gold certainly has said, looked at all this and said, we just don't believe a word of it. You're not going to raise rates. You can't raise rates because you can't taper a Ponzi scheme. And so people are saying, forget it. It's all over. This fiat money thing is going to blow up for good. So we're going to buy gold and they're going to buy Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a hard asset, hard money like gold. They're both going up together for the reason that fiat is now in a serious, serious predicament.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, because we saw Australia lower interest rates recently. There's that cross between the centrally planned cashless society that you see in places like Sweden, and then we have this decentralized cashless system that a lot of people would call digital gold. And then you see Facebook come in with the Libra coin, which is what some people would say Bitcoin is digital gold, while the Libra is like the digital US dollar. What do you think of this Libra coin announcement by Facebook?
I think it is digital fiat currency, and for that reason, it has some value that would be challenged to the banks. So because you can move this digital fiat currency around at virtually no cost, and you have a $2.5 billion customer base, as you do at Facebook, it can make a serious dent in the banking business, because the bank business makes a lot of money in fees, transaction fees. The remittance business obviously would be challenged by this. Players like Western Union and others would be challenged by this. And there's room for this to exist, and those are being disintermediated, right? They're being disrupted. It's not a challenge to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is more like gold, and it is something that people would be buying as a store of value, and it is completely decentralized, censorship resistant, immutable, etc. So it is, I believe, I agree, yeah, it is like a corporate version of fiat money. You have government fiat money like the dollar, you'll have a corporate fiat money like Libra, and then you'll have gold, which would be the people's version of, Bitcoin, which is like the people's version of gold.
And some might call you a Bitcoin maximalist, and I have to ask though, there are certain issues, a lot of politics at play regarding Lightning and stuff like that. Scalability, are we properly scaled for the next big boom in Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think so, because its primary use case is a store of value, and people are moving hundreds of millions of dollars around in Bitcoin for $5, $6. So it's working right now. As far as transactions go, and you used to buy a cup of coffee, you have second layer scaling coming in. You do have Lightning networks. You do have other applications that are making that possible. I look at Square, for example. Square, which is brought to us by the fabulous Jack Dorsey of Twitter fame, his Cash app is on-ramping Bitcoin. You can off-ramp Bitcoin. It's only going to, I don't know if he has a payment app yet per se with a QR code or whatever. I'm sure it'll be coming very soon. So, what more do you want? You can on and off ramp your Bitcoin. You got a QR code, you can use it to pay for stuff. So you don't need on-chain transactions. It's unnecessary to have on-chain transactions. I don't see what the obsession is with on-chain transactions. Lightning Network works fine. Things like Lightning Network. You want the on-chain transactions to be there for a store of value for digital gold, because you want to stick a knife in the gut of fiat money. That's what has to happen. That's the most important thing. And that's what's happening. It is happening. That's happening.
I do think in the near future, Bitcoin is most likely to do that. Obviously, it's king, and it will be as far down the line as I could see, unless something else comes out that's innovative and amazing. But I think that's the main argument that people would have is it's super easy to make big transactions, even minor, small transactions. But obviously, going to a coffee shop and you want to pay $2 for coffee and it's $3.50 for the fee, that kind of is an issue. So, do you think that the politics around Lightning Network and implementing Lightning Network is kind of coming to an end, as we're kind of facing this obvious quandary where it's maybe we should be able to do these transactions easily without massive fees?
Well, if you look at the competitors that try to address this, obviously you have Bitcoin Cash, but the problem is Bitcoin Cash is not attracting the hash power. It's not attracting the mining. It's not going to survive because it's not secure. The idea of bigger blocks are less secure. And security drives and hash rate are what make the protocol and the technology worthwhile. Hash rate comes before price. I've said that before, and I believe that's the story. And hash rate, then you have security, then you have price. If you have Bitcoin Cash and the hash rate's not there, the security's not there, so I don't care what the price is, and it doesn't matter if I can use it to buy a cup of coffee or not. It's going to go just $10 and sit there for the eternity as an abandoned coin, like thousands of other abandoned coins. So, Bitcoin Satoshi vision is going nowhere. It's not happening. There are coins out there. They do things, but going forward, the liquidity will dry up. They won't get the support. Everything's moving to Bitcoin. So now, I could be wrong, right? Obviously. But the way I see the market, look at the Bitcoin dominance is now rising again. It's back at 60%. It's probably going to go back to 80%. And the money is going to flow into the king coin, the Godzilla of crypto. And the time for the altcoin and the experimentation and all that was fantastic. But it's over, man. The jury has returned. And everything is guilty except for Bitcoin. And
you were one of the originals in this space. I have to ask, going forward, outside of the currency realm of blockchain, we're seeing a lot of censorship on many social medias. We're seeing a lot of issues with people trying to get their message out, whether it's left, right, anarchist, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of censorship that's happening, a lot of centralization and monopolization happening. Where do you see the blockchain coming in as a solution to these issues? Are there any blockchain infrastructure technologies that you're looking at that you're going, maybe that can save people on the free market from these issues that we're facing? Outside of the currency realm of the blockchain, is there anything that you're seeing that really stands out on the blockchain?
Yeah, you're talking about the incursion by the state into our freedoms. So speech freedom is being curtailed, and other freedoms are being curtailed with the existence of an invasive, pervasive surveillance state and an encroaching corpocracy which is positioning themselves above the law. Okay, this is a serious problem. Now, with Bitcoin, it promotes individual sovereignty, it promotes censorship resistance, it promotes hard money, it promotes, again, the idea that people are free from the encroaching spread of these negative aspects to society. And, you know, when you give your money to the bank, you know, the bank owns that money. You know, you don't own it anymore. That's not an acceptable situation. So my point is this, that we need to achieve that individual sovereignty first and then move on from there. Instead of, let's come up with a blockchain or a technology that will address this specific issue. Like, okay, we need greater censorship resistance in media. We need freer media. Is there a blockchain that will give us freer media? Sure, there's probably a project out there, or can be, that accomplishes that goal. But at the root of it all is that individual sovereignty issue. And then from there, a lot flows, because then you have communities that are thinking differently. They're like, okay, we've seceded from this encroaching surveillance state and war state, and we have now we have the right to assemble. This used to be a guaranteed right under the Constitution, the right to assemble. You know, we can exercise that right, and we can decide where we want to go as a community. And then from there will flow energy into those types of issues that you bring up. You see what I'm saying? So I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I think that there's a fundamental way to approach it that would set the groundwork for all of those things to occur that we want to see. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that that's the kind of insight we're looking for. And I wanted to ask you finally, what's your latest adventure? I was enjoying Gonzo. Is there more of that on the horizon? What's going on with you?
Right. So we do now a number of series on RT. So we did Gonzo, which was a 10-part series, Max and Stacy traveling around. We just finished To the Moon. It's a 10-part series of the history of Bitcoin. You know, we've been covering it for just almost 10 years. So we do every episode covers a year, going back to 2009. Now that has now been fully released. You can see all 10 episodes on RT website. We're setting up a series for the election coming up, the 2020 election, and we might be doing another Bitcoin focus series where we are going to travel around Africa, because in Africa the debate is over and Bitcoin won. I mean, that's a bit, I'm stretching a little bit, but my point is that Africa, the countries in Africa see that they can leapfrog all that banking nonsense and go right into a peer-to-peer encrypted sovereign currency, hard money.
Can I add, I can confirm that I was just in Mauritania in Africa about a month and a half ago, and people were using Bitcoin in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Their internet wasn't very good, but they were using Bitcoin. And I mean, it was better than their Aguya currency in Africa or in Mauritania, because they just took a zero off of it. Sometimes 50 means 50, sometimes 50 means 500. Nobody knows, everyone's getting scammed, and they're like, you know what, enough of this, I'm using Bitcoin. That's a real thing.
Right, so did you have to explain it to anybody?
Not a single person.
Right? That's the seed. And history is always like that. America was tired. The colonies were tired of the empire, and they decided to have a revolution. Right? And now we're the empire. And Bitcoin is the new America. That's a good quote to end on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate your time today. I'll let you get your shoe on and have a good rest of the day.
I didn't realize the heels were so high on these. Now I'm like, wow.
They're beautiful shoes. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Shirt.
Yeah, they do, kind of, yeah. got the plaid going on.
You need to rock these. You know, you can find these on Amazon if you search for plaid shoes.
All right,
You'll find these.
All right, well, you know where to look, guys. Thank you very much for talking with us again.
All right, Josh, great to see you again. Bye now.
Like what you see here at WHAM, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, we can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we're so heavily demonetized and censored and shadow banned. It's getting really bad, folks. If everyone just gave $1 single a month to, say, Patreon or our Subscribestar, where we do subscriber-only content, we could really get out of this rut that we are currently in as YouTube tries to stifle independent media and prop up the mainstream media. This is really important. This is one of the most important times in independent media history for us to say it's now or never. Let's keep moving forward and let's be that change that we wish to see in the world. Of course, there's also our Bitcoin address below as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And of course, we got events coming up. So make sure to check us out at anarchovegas.com. Anarchovegas.com. Use promo code WAM, that's WHAM, for a 10% discount on your tickets. It's on July 19th, 20th, and 21st in, of course, Las Vegas, Nevada. That's anarchovegas.com. Make sure to check us out there and find us on websites like BitTube and Minds, and just try to support independent media, if not myself, any of the other big independent medias out there, to help us continuously bring our message to you free of charge so that we can really change the guard as we move forward into a dramatically polarized, crazy future. Let's try to make it as sustainable as possible. It comes down to you guys. You are the change you wish to see. You guys will help us get through these tough times. So anyway, check out all those links. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.